Welcome back to Thrasher's Paradise, and consistency is key on the Thrashing couch, which is why I'm very happy we're back on a couch. It's a very nice couch, not mine, but it's Colin's, which is confusing because I'm Colin too. Anyways, we're here with Colin and Dorian of Flamespitter from Stratford, Ontario, and yet we're in a house in London.
I live here in London with my girlfriend actually, because I moved down here to work. So
Makes sense. And I'm assuming you are from...
I'm from Stratford, yeah.
Okay, so the rest of the band is from Stratford.
yeah, Brady lives in Stratford too.
Brady
Well,
is the
Guitar player,
guitarist.
yeah.
And you're the drummer.
Drummer, yeah.
So that makes you...
Dorian's bass and vocals.
Oh, you're the vocalist. Excellent. Now, you just released a brand new EP, Destruction. First off, love it. Just heard it on the way here. Amazing. I noticed that a bunch of the songs that are on it were live versions on the first EP.
A couple of them were, yeah.
Yeah. What made you want to put them on this EP?
They were originally written to be put out as a separate EP, but when we were playing shows, some of them got recorded, and we decided, hey, we're going to reissue our first demo that we did, so we just put them out there as a little teaser, I guess.
Excellent. Now, we listened to both the EPs. The first EP is Savagery and then Destruction on the way here. And we noticed a lot of differences from your sound to just the maturity of it from between the 2 to 3 year gap between the EPs. What was it like to have it sound different from your Savagery?
It just felt really nice because it had so much more of a beefy sound to it. It had more of a heavier sound, I would say. Colin, what do you think?
Savagery was recorded when we were 15. Brady was 14 when we did Savagery. And so we kind of just took the best couple songs that we've written over the last few years and decided we're going to do Destruction with it. And Destruction, the song, has actually been one of the favorites by us as a band and then a lot of fans. So we decided that'd be a good name for it and everything.
Okay, Dorian, would we be able to switch seats just to make it easier to switch?
He likes to ski.
Ski. I just got it. Damn it. No. So the first track you released off of the brand new EP is Godzilla. What made you want to pick that song just to have it out there before the rest of the EP got released?
For me, it was just it's a fun song. It's short. It's like straight to the point. It's what do we play? 3 riffs in it, and that's it. It's over, right?
Yeah, for the same reasons as him. It's pretty just a short kind of grindcore style song that we just felt, it kind of just a good way to introduce the album. Just a big punch in the face, kind of.
Exactly, and it was great. And we did play it live on Thrasher's Paradise on the radio show Tuesday nights from 9:30 to midnight on 101.5 The Hawk. Right. Sorry, I have to plug the radio show.
It's all right.
What's it like hearing that your song was able to be played on an FM station?
That's awesome to me. Like that feels really good. I try to stay as humble as I can because there's no I don't know. I'll let Dorian take over. Really.
I think it's really awesome that it got put on the radio, especially because we don't have clean singing in our music. It's all more screaming and stuff like that and growls. So yeah, it does feel pretty good to have that out on the radio, and also because this is like our form of expression, so it's really nice that more people get to hear it, and maybe some people catch on to it and really like it.
Yeah. Now, the hard thing to try and play something by you guys was trying to find something with no swearing in it.
Yeah. Godzilla is clean, and there's 3 songs on the new EP that are clean, have no swearing. But Destruction, War, and Gutter Bound are all explicit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on not swearing as much because it's pretty easy crutch to get a hold of,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a little bit of a challenge to kind of work around that, to try and maybe add a little bit more descriptive words and stuff like that to the song, and adjectives and all that, to kind of flesh out the lyrics instead of just constantly swearing all the time. Adds a little bit of variety too.
Fair enough. Now, the last show that we know of you gentlemen performed in was a month ago at Norma Jeans with Not Slip, North Shroud, Celestial Crypt, and Cypher.
Yes.
What was that like, just to be on that bill and to perform with those great bands?
Oh, it was awesome. All those guys were really good. Cypher, especially, they're very good. They're very unique. They have an industrial style, and they remind me a lot of like Fear Factory and Nine Inch Nails, but not so much the heavy like drumming of Fear Factory, but that kind of mechanical industrial style, right? Celestial Crypt, of course, is amazing. Dorian plays.
I play bass in it.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I'm Galactus Inferno. Yes.
Oh wow, I didn't know. Wow. Okay. Well, I interviewed Gortooth.
Yes, I heard about that. Yeah, he's lovely, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I love Gortooth. I'm just happy he didn't eat me.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful around him.
Yeah.
Some days you don't know with those alien dudes, right?
Yeah.
So it's this one. That's why I'm sitting this way from, right?
I mean, do you just play it day by day where you just hope it's Dorian and not Galactus?
Exactly. Yeah. When he gets on the bass and on the mic, it's sometimes it's Galactus and it's scary.
Oh, okay. What's it like for you to be able to switch in and out of Dorian to being Galactus?
It's a really nice parallel, I think, because I kind of play different roles in Celestial as opposed to Flamespitter, because Isaac is the front man of Celestial, and I get to do a more bass main role, and that's really fun to do. I also don't have to do as many vocals, so my vocal cords thank me. Except for when we play 2 shows, then they're like, "Oh, nice, this is gonna be great." But I mean, it's real fun, man. I like that. I'm essentially doing 2 different characters almost. Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, since we're on the topic of that, was it weird, more or less, just to play one at Celestial Crypt and then switch over to Flamespitter for that show?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a little weird feeling because they're similar, but they're obviously musically different in different ways. And I play a little bit more intricate stuff on the bass in Celestial than I do in Flamespitter. But yeah, it's a pretty cool shift. I can kind of feel a difference between the 2 personalities almost. Yeah.
Cool. Now, Colin, was it weird to see Dorian turn into Galactus just like that?
Oh no, I love it. I actually went and saw Celestial with their first show with Dorian, and it's phenomenal. Their sound, it's huge with Dorian in the band, and it adds that energy that they didn't have. Didn't have before, but it just adds that extra energy, right? And it improves them 110%, and they're one of my favorite bands out of London. They're awesome, and not just because Dorian's in the band. So,
but because you don't want to be eaten by Gortooth.
Exactly, and Brian's a pretty scary dude too. Bone Sticks,
the drummer.
Yes.
I haven't heard much about Bone Sticks.
He's quiet, but you got to be careful around him too.
Okay. Now, as you mentioned Gortooth's slave, Isaac. How important is he to the concept of Celestial Crypt?
His slave, eh? I haven't heard him use that. I'm not sure how to answer that. I feel like that's something he'd be able to answer a little bit better.
Fair enough. Now, I apologize for turning this more into a Celestial Crypt fan club video.
I love it, man. I love it.
Now, I'm going to ask a very serious question. Today is December 28th, and I do believe tonight you were supposed to have a show.
Last night, yes.
Last night. What happened to it?
It's kind of complicated there, and some stuff we don't really want to get into, but our manager, he had to take time off from being a manager for mental health reasons and to be with his family, and we had to understand that as a band, and that's totally understandable. And so he was the one promoting and running the show, and so unfortunately the show got canceled. That's
And also, I think because it was closer to Christmas time too, with the venue, that it was kind of like, that's going to be kind of hard to do, obviously, because it's a very busy time of year.
Yeah.
As well as that, but it happens, man. Stuff happens.
Of course.
You just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally something that, like, it's over, and we appreciate everything that Adam did for us as a band, and he was a great manager and still is a great manager, and we look forward to possibly working with him again in the future, and we wish him the best.
Of course, shout out to Adam.
ADM Productions.
ADM Productions as well. More importantly, when can we expect Flamespitter to have their next performance?
I'll let Dorian answer that.
Well, we are thinking of doing, a proper show for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a matter of finding the right, spot to do it, and obviously the right time to do it. And because, everybody's, playing shows all the time, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hectic, but yeah, we're also, because we released it, we're starting to work on new stuff and putting out potentially a single in next couple of months, just as an individual song, or a double actually, with 2 songs based off of a book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that should be pretty cool. But yeah, hopefully we're planning on doing a show to actually release the album and put it out there. Not sure on a time frame to tell you for that, but yeah.
Fair enough. Besides that, are there any like upcoming shows with other bands that?
Not that we have at the moment. No. No. We're just kind of in writing mode right now.
Okay.
Actually, we're gonna be writing after we're done the interview.
Oh,
and
really?
everything. Yeah. Yeah, we're working on those couple songs that Dorian mentioned, and then,
Okay.
we're writing or starting to write a full length album as well, but that'll be a long process.
Of course.
So
And I assume you both will probably want to take your time with it.
yeah,
It's
Brady.
gonna be a bigger conceptual idea.
Okay.
Like lyrically, it's gonna be more of like it's just gonna be more what's the word I'm looking for here? In a grander scale almost.
Okay.
There's gonna be a little bit more lore behind it in a way. Planning on having some maybe stories to go along with it to kind of help give it more context.
Okay.
And yeah, but it's gonna be a bitch to write, man.
Now you mentioned that you were going to release 2 songs based off of a book.
I can get that book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the book is The Terror by Dan Simmons, I believe. It's based on. I'll let Dorian explain it.
The Terror by Dan Sim. We will take a picture of it and make sure to add it to the video.
It's based off of an expedition that happened in 1845. The British Royal Navy wanted to find the Northwest Passage because they'd spent, the 1800s sending bomb ships out into North Pole and the South Pole to explore them. So they took the HMS Erebus and HMS Terror and really reinforced them with iron plating and decommissioned steam locomotive engines, and gave them heaps of food, like canned food and stuff like that. Which they bought from the lowest bidder, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So they send them out in 1845, and they get stuck in the ice, and basically they get stuck there till 1850, and then around 1847-48, they have to abandon their ships, and they march across King William Island, which is up in Nunavut, to get to Backsfish River to get up to northern Canada, so they can escape, because when they went, it was a colder winter than what it was meant to be, so the ice didn't thaw. And their food also, because it was bought at such a low price, they speculate that because the soldering was done with lead, that it would have slowly started to poison them and make the food rotten and stuff like that. So most of their food is theorized to be bad. So they were suffering from starvation and, scurvy and stuff like that, which normally happened then because they couldn't get fresh fruit or vegetables on board because, that stuff's hard to preserve when you don't have refrigeration.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a fictional version of that, and it adds a bear spirit from Inuit mythology that was created originally in the creation of the universe to kill the other gods. And it failed and went back to kill the god that created, or goddess that created it. So it banished it to Earth in the form of a giant polar bear with a serpentine neck, so a really long neck. And it walks on, obviously, 2 legs too, and it moves like a fox. And yeah, so that's what the songs are about. Some of the characters in two specific parts of the book that are some of my favorites.
Okay.
Because like these were all real people, and
Yeah.
there was 129 of them, I think, and they're all dead. And it's you can look it up. The Franklin expedition. It's an ongoing thing. They found the ships. They found HMS Terror in Terror Bay. Funnily enough, and it's still intact. It's in pretty good condition. Whereas the other ship, HMS Erebus, was smashed and splintered and stuff, and is at the I can't remember what bay it's at the bottom of, but up there. And they say because of the position that it was from where they were stuck in, that the ice might have broken up and they might have tried to sail down as a last kind of attempt. But yeah, it's just trying to capture the emotional despair and desolation of that, because this book means a lot to me personally. So, and it's a bit of an emotional thing for me. So I don't know. I just wanted to make some songs about it because it's pretty cool. Sorry, I kind of went off the rails.
That's awesome, man. Like,
I've
holy.
read the book like 5 times.
Oh, no, that just sounds. I'm just trying to figure out what the artwork would look like.
I'm kind of working on it at the moment. I originally started drawing my my rendition of the bear. Yes.
Okay.
But I'm thinking I'm gonna change it now and just more kind of go for a landscape style artwork.
Because it's the song "The Terror," and the reason it's called "The Terror" is because that's what the men, like the crews, start calling it, because they think of it as like a supernatural being when it is.
Yeah.
It's an immortal being that they can't kill because they just got muskets and shotguns, no cannons.
Yeah.
Even though they were bomb ships, so they would have been equipped with mortars, but they're sent into the Arctic, so mortars would have been useless and more weight.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's also about it's about one of the characters, Commander James Fitzjames. When he dies in the book, it's talking about his death.
Okay.
Because he died of he didn't get eaten. He died from being paralyzed in the book. Like his entire body paralyzed around him, and his lungs stopped working.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it just it's from the point of view of two individuals, Captain Francis Crozier and Dr. Harry Goodsir. And Goodsir is a doctor, right? Or an assistant surgeon, so he goes into detail about, the men's health. Because so he's describing this scene, and it's just really unfortunate because, he's described as being like the hero of the Navy, and like he was the most handsome man in the Navy, and he was like this war hero.
Okay.
And it just talks about how the events that happen in the book just break him down into just like a shadow of what he was, and how that happens to everybody, and how they just become skeletons, literally just walking skeletons, and they were dying as they were marching, because they had to drag like their other boats, because before they had lifeboats, they had to bring whale boats, pinnacle boats, cutter boats. They had a bunch of other boats, but they brought those couple boats, to get the men up the river.
Yeah.
And they had to pull them on big sledges that had all their other stuff. So these were like almost 3,000 pounds, I would imagine, and they're dragging it across sea ice. Now that's very salty ice.
Yeah.
So I think they theorized that at some points they would make less than a mile a day, and they were trying to go about 800 miles. Yeah. So they didn't make it that far. It actually, start of the book here, it gives a map with the route we took here. So you see,
Wow.
they got locked in there, and then they walked all the way down here.
Okay.
And then that's right here is as far as they got. So they say, and that's where they were trying to go. And about there's like the last spot they got.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's pretty interesting, but unfortunately they all died.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a pretty sad story, man.
It is. Man, that's just awesome. Like, I can't describe how awesome that just sounds, and how
It's crazy.
you're just passionate about it. And I can see it. I'm pretty sure Colin deals with it on a daily basis.
I'm reading the book currently, or trying to.
Oh.
I only have so much time, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to read it as much as I can. But there's actually a AMC TV show based on the book as well.
Oh, really?
And it's not as accurate to the book, but it's still quite good. It's the bear. The way they depict the bear in that show is. The CGI is iffy, but they do a good job.
I think they had some budget cuts that they were dealing with, so they had to change the design a little bit. It looks more like a short-faced bear in the show than like a actual polar bear.
Okay.
So it's kind of got like this weird muscle shape, and it's kind of got a flat face.
It's still
Still scary, man. Like
Yeah.
if you see it coming at you, it's still scary. But they missed out the eyes too, because it describes the eyes as just being black and soulless.
Mm-hmm.
And, when everything's white, that's the only thing you can see, and it towers about 14 feet tall. So you can imagine just looking up and just seeing two black eyes staring at you. Yeah. And, like, it just makes you crap your pants.
See, that would be an awesome T-shirt to make.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be sick.
It would be really cool.
I'm assuming you're already trying to work it out into a T-shirt.
We're hoping that could be a T-shirt. Yeah, as long as there's no copyright problems or anything like that. So.
I mean, as you mentioned earlier, you are trying to figure out a design.
Yeah. I'm trying to draw my rendition of how I see the bear and how he's depicted. But I'm thinking about changing it a little bit, kind of for at least the official album artwork for it, or the
Yeah.
double artwork.
Do you have a name for what it could potentially be called?
Yeah, it's going to be... I have the names for the two songs.
Okay.
They're actually both references to the book. So the Terror, obviously, is just describing everything and from a point of view. And the second song is going to be called Cairn of Mortality.
Okay.
And that's describing a particular part in the book where a boat gets destroyed by the bear. And, it's just... That's a direct quote where they used to describe the discarded items from the guys that died. They say, the discarded items is a sad little cairn of mortality. And it was just, that's a pretty cool song title.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool song.
And it's one of my favorite sections of the book because one of my favorite that's the part where one of my favorite characters dies, and just the way he dies is just it's pretty spooky. Like they were in a bit of open water because they found a spot, and the bear attacked them in the boat, and he was the only one that could swim. So I guess he swam through the water, climbed up onto a patch of ice, and then curled up and froze to death while the bear walked around on its hind legs around him. Yeah. It's just scary, man.
Creepy but awesome.
And that actual part in the book, so it's describes the actual group going in, discovering that it's not like the open sea or anything, and then they turn around, and then they left a boat pike in to mark where they came in, and they're like, "Oh, that ice boulder wasn't there." And then the last sentence is the ice boulder turned, and that's it, and that's all you get. And then they explain the aftermath after, and they find like the one corpse, a headless corpse, and a pelvic bone, I think, and the rest is just coiled entrails in the ice and stuff like that, and just remnants of gnawed bones. Wow. Yeah, because it eats people. It eats souls. Yeah.
Cool. Now, from a legal standpoint, are there any real legal tasks when trying to write music based off of a book?
No, we can write whatever we want, really, as far as music and lyrics goes.
As long as you're not plagiarizing it.
Yeah,
of
as long as
course.
the historian's not using a full sentence out of the book or something like that, right?
Okay.
But the only really problem we would run into is artwork. Like if I were to exactly copy the way they've shown the bear in the show and just drew that onto a shirt, right? We'd run into a problem there, but no, as long as it's all original stuff, you're totally fine.
Okay. I was just curious because, I know a lot of bands do find inspirations from like either movies or books. So I was just wanting to know what the legal side of things would be like.
It's usually pretty. You can usually get away with a lot when it comes to that kind of stuff. You got to know what to look up and what rules to look for when you're doing it, right? Like if you're using images off the internet, you want to use something that's Creative Commons or something that's labeled for reuse, right? They're giving you their permission to copy or modify their artwork so you can redistribute it either for commercial purposes or non-commercial purposes, right? So
Excellent. Now, as we all know, 2019 is coming to an end, and we're entering to the next decade of the 2020s. What do you hope Flamespitter accomplishes within that decade?
Obviously putting out those singles, that double, I guess tribute to this ill-fated crew, I guess. That's really what it is. It's just meant to be a commemoration of that historical event. And we're going to start working on our full length. I don't know if it'll come out in 2020, but at least starting that idea and, getting that thought into fruition, I guess. And play some shows. Play more shows, obviously.
Excellent.
Total apocalyptic domination and all that.
I think he's starting to come out of his shell.
yeah. We're maybe
I just
getting
love metal, man. I just love metal.
Excellent. Colin.
all the same things, really. I hope to play lots of shows in 2020. I love doing it. It's a passion. It's what we do. It's why we're here, right? So, but yeah, of course, releasing those 2 songs, I really want to do too. We're working on them. We've been working on them the past couple days, other than me sitting there playing my Switch. But yeah, it's hopefully it's going to be a really good year next year, and hopefully we can get our name out there. And I actually really want to make it down to Montreal at some point, because I've heard that Montreal has a very, very nice metal scene down there. So hopefully we can get down there by the summer, or maybe 2021 if we're lucky, right? So
Just gotta work hard.
Yeah. Work hard, and hopefully it will pay off.
yeah, exactly.
Now, gentlemen, we're at the point of the interview where we ask one last final question, and all the stakes are raised, because if you get this correct, you get candy.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yes. Goretooth stole a lot of candy from us,
Oh boy.
but I can do nothing about it because I don't want to be eaten.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So it was either the candy or your left arm.
I wish it was my left arm. I don't want to talk about what he wanted to eat.
No.
Yeah, that sounds like Gorky.
That sounds like him. I've had a couple encounters myself.
Anyways, the question is simple. Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Lemmy.
Trick question. Lemmy is God.
Correct, gentlemen. Congratulations. You passed the poster question on Thrasher's Paradise. Nice. Thank you both so much for coming on the Thrashing Couch today. I really appreciate it. And thank you for letting me borrow your couch for this edition of Thrasher's Paradise. Make sure to check them out on Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp. Get everything. Get their brand new EP, Destruction, on Spotify, Bandcamp. What else you got on?
YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'll probably end up putting it on SoundCloud eventually. It'll be on everything, man. It's we use DistroKid, so it distributes to like Amazon Music, Deezer, iHeartRadio, like all these. I got the email the other day from DistroKid saying Destruction is now live on iHeartRadio app or whatever, and I was like, all right.
Hey, there might be an untapped vein there. We might discover something. Yeah. There might be some people in there that might be into that. True. You never know, man.
It's got a point there.
Well, you heard it here first. It's on iHeartRadio, so keep an eye out for it. And until next time, keep on thrashing.